so in this piece, you have the violin prepared with blue tack for the first half of the piece.
Yes.
And on the top 3 strings, and it cuts the string and its resonance in this beautiful way. So both sides are resonating in an irregular fashion. And we were talking over email how it sounds sort of like a gamelan.
Yes.
So I have 2 questions for you. First, about the musical character of this sound and how you conceived of it in a musical way, but then also practically, you wrote this for 2 wonderful violinists, Marco Fuzzi and Andrew McIntosh. And I'm wondering to what extent collaboration with them was part of developing the sound, or if you just had a violin yourself and tried things out.
So that's actually a really good question. So in general, I always, if there, and most of the time it is, if the piece is for someone specific, I have always this conversation of who they are, what they do best in their instrument, what is their characteristic things that they really like to explore, and or part of also their character. The other part is for me, after that, I'm going always taking the instrument in my hand and trying out things till I find that thing that somehow attracts me. And basically it's exploration. How can I write different kinds of variation, permutation of this sound? How can this sound go further, but like emerges in different colors? As I mentioned, it's texture is very important for me in every piece that I'm writing. And the reason that it happened with blue tack was I wrote before this piece my first string quartet for Diotima, Quattro Diotima. And when I was exploring sounds, I somehow, and I don't even remember how, found like a blue tack, and I was trying out, and I was like, wow, what is this sound? And I was so fascinated with it. And I really went and tried on like all the instruments, string instruments, and see what I can do, filming myself hours and hours, trying out different things. And I'm not a string player. I mean, I played a bit cello, but I'm not a real performer. But I think it's always, for me at least, it's very important that I know what I'm asking the performer to do and how does it sound and why. And I found it actually really nice conversations happens with the performer when the composer knows what they're asking the performer and like why this color. And as you mentioned, it's very similar to the sound of a paper clips or something else. I don't know what it's technically in English. The one that you hang the clothes on it.
Oh yeah, the little mini clothespins.
Yes, clothespins.
Or also alligator clips.
Yes.
From like Radio Shack.
Exactly, yes. But what I liked about the blue tack, I felt that there is the pizzicato part that you were doing, the one that is like on the sottasto part also, has a kind of like quality of like a voice, of like a human voice sound. It's a bit round, it's this metallic part. So it's still a violin, but violin mixed with different colors. So at that time also, I was writing, thinking a lot about questioning myself also in general about the question of identity and how we can, what if something looks different, sounds different? Is it still the same thing? How is our attitude going to be toward this? How are we perceiving this as an audience? So in a few pieces of mine, I've actually explored this idea of identity and basically presenting this out. And I don't want to like give an answer to it, but I want to have this like open question, like we're changing the look of it. It's very tiny, but it changes a lot. But is it still the same thing? Are we still having, what happens to this? And yeah. I think the observation of, and of course it has, all my pieces have somehow something to do with the social political aspects that's happening everywhere in our lives, because we're living, this is how we are living in this time. So whatever happens also reacts and like influences and leaves its footprints on our music for
Yeah.
us artists, musicians. So it was that time for me also that I was looking for, of me staying here and not being able to travel to Europe, and yeah, adding also always something, being in a different environment, preparing basic. That's why it's one part of the situation series. Each of the situation series are specific situation that one finds oneself in it, and each time I'm like focusing on something. So, and that's why it's part of the situation series, because this is a specific situation. It comes prepared at the beginning, but not all of it. One of it stays the same, and then slowly, it's get rid of the blue tack, but still we have the qualities in the instrument that we already explored with the blue tack also, even without it.
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to show that whatever happens and comes, it always leaves its footprints somewhere, and we will hear things differently. We will look at things differently.
One thing that I loved from your program note, is you talk about how we hear the typical, like in quotes, typical normal violin sounds, and also unusual sounds and noises and colors. And you say, we're observing how they exist alone or together as part of a whole. That really resonated with me, and in my relationship to this instrument, I've been in my violin playing, I think a lot about having a holistic relationship to the instrument and the music, and trying to get away from a mentality where it's like, okay, I'm a Western trained musician, went to conservatory, so this is the pillar of what I do, and everything else is like extra added onto that. But to think of my Western training as just one part, and that there are many other equal parts of my practice. And so like this sound world with the blue tack is a different module of practice that then can be linked up with the Western practice, but there's not a hierarchy between them. They're both beautiful.
Exactly. Absolutely. And also it's for me, it's a question, like I remember something in my head changed many years ago. And from that time, actually, I call myself a composer. I was in Amsterdam and working with musicians who are masters of, coming from different countries in the world, and they're masters in Arhu, they're masters in Kemanche, they're masters in different instruments. But putting them like a string quartet should not always be two violin, like viola and cello could be different other instruments. And uh, the thing that it clicked for me was that, oh, all these like the Western training mentality for us, even composers, and this extended techniques for for a lot of this other countries. This is not an extended technique. This how the instrument sounds and reacts. This is part of the culture, part of the identity of the instrument. So it was for me this kind of like, there is no this and this and this and this. All of them at the end of the day are the music.